Okay, so I am Tim Santens. I run talesfromcollection.com, which has the affiliated Tales from a Collection TikTok and YouTube channel, which is possibly where you're watching us right now. I'm here with Bryan Calloway of Autograph Alliance. Does a lot of consignments at conventions, does a lot of street graphing to sell autographs, does mystery boxes, all kinds of really good stuff. And today we're going to be doing another episode of the Autograph Weekly podcast. We'll be talking about the SAG-AFTRA and the WGA strike, which is causing some secondary ramifications on the convention world. We're going to be going over some of the new convention guests that have recently been announced for FanX in Salt Lake City. We're going to talk about some of the cool autograph sales that are going on, some of the recent autographs that have popped up, like signed Keanu Reeves album and a sale on an Elizabeth Olsen's Hattie Harmony book, which is now on sale for pretty cheap. So I got a lot of some ground to cover here, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, Bryan, I'm not sure how much you've been hearing on the news about the history, but the SAG-AFTRA strike is kind of like history repeating itself, really, because there was a strike back in 1980 where SAG-AFTRA was striking against the Producers Guild, and it was kind of for the same reasons, really, because back then they wanted residuals on the movies and TV that they were producing at the time. And this was at the dawn of home video, where like the VHS and the beta was just coming out, and these movies were going to be available to the public. And at the time, there was no real protections for the actors to be getting residuals on those sales. So basically, they made the deal, they made the movie, came out in the theaters, they got their money, and then after that, the studios were kind of free to distribute it. So that's why they went on strike, and they said, we want to be paid for this work. You guys are making money off of it still. We want some residuals on top of that as well. Ultimately, that strike in 1980 lasted 3 months and 3 days. And the Screen Actors Guild did get some good concessions out of that, because it resulted in a 32.5% wage increase for the actors. It came with improvements to employee benefits and a 4.5% share of gross revenue for the home media sales. And now we're in July 2023. We just had the Writers Guild strike start about a month ago, and now the Screen Actors Guild has kind of joined forces with the Writers Guild, which is actually the first time that those two different guilds have collectively struck together since 1960. So while these things kind of happen from time to time, they actually are fairly infrequent that these happen. So it's kind of a major event when they do. But basically the problem here is that they're still concerned over residuals. So as before, where it was home video, now it's streaming services. So the streaming services, they might pay a nice sum up front to get somebody to do a show for Netflix, but then, essentially the show will stream indefinitely on Netflix, and there's not necessarily any residuals or kickback that the actors get while it's streaming. So they're
I was gonna say, I had no idea that the streaming services were not providing, residuals to their actors when they were doing these series or movies or whatever they might be. I thought it was automatically included, because you always hear about, actors still getting checks from years back. So I assumed that's how it worked over in the Netflix or Hulu world. So when all this news was dropping, it was new to me that they were not a part of any type of residuals.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely right. Like I've seen, videos of actors like showing the kind of royalty checks that they'll get from the shows that they did, in the 80s or something like that. And that's because they did this collective bargaining back in the 80s, and they secured the right for the TV residuals and the home video residuals. But I guess at the advent of the streaming services, it was kind of like an uncharted territory that wasn't quite covered under the existing contract. So and I guess I'm surprised it took this long, honestly, if they haven't been getting residuals from it. But now they're in this new territory where they're striking, and productions have now halted, and there's a lot of secondary consequences to it. And in addition to just the residuals, now we have additional concern over artificial intelligence. The studios want to have the right to, say, write a script with AI, or use like deepfake technology to use someone's voice and likeness, that kind of thing. And of course, the Actors Guild wants no part of that.
So yeah, on the AI, I'm not sure if you've gotten a chance, and I haven't finished the season on this show on Netflix. It's the Black Mirror. There's a new season that's out that came out in the last, I don't know, month or so, maybe more. I can't remember. But I just started up, and the first 2 episodes is about basically a streaming service. I forget what it's called, Berry Flicks or something like that, kind of like a play on Netflix. And basically, it takes over it basically deep fakes them and makes them into an AI streaming show, and they have no control of their own likeness or anything like that, because when they signed up to watch the streaming service, they also signed up to give away their likenesses.
Yeah, I guess that's like a play on the fact that nobody ever reads the terms and conditions, right?
Yeah.
You can basically be selling your soul to the devil, and you never know.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's got something in it too.
And that's kind of like a futuristic thing, but the proof of concept is already there. I don't know if you've seen that somebody was already doing a live stream AI version of Seinfeld, where like they had an AI write basically episodes of Seinfeld. They write the scenes and the dialogue and stuff, and they kind of combined that, the AI writer, with a generative AI that created basically video. So it would be like this really like low res Seinfeld episodes, like totally created by AI. So like, basically the proof of concept is already out there. You can in fact create a whole episode by AI alone. So as the technology is now in its infancy, I mean, we can imagine that down the road, Last Strike was like 53 years ago. So 53 years now from the future, I could imagine that the technology is going to be on point, right? So.
And I know we're talking about these people, and some of them probably make like really big salaries, but I think a lot of it has to do with maybe the smaller actors, the smaller type of production people, the staff, all those type of people, so then you kind of see the other side of it, maybe on that side, I guess, on type of things. I mean, I wish everybody got residuals. Working for a medical device company in the past, it would be nice that that you get some type of residuals for the rest of your life, even when you retire, because there's no more pensions anymore. So yeah, it is kind of a weird situation, but I kind of see their side also.
Yeah. I mean, there's those big actors that are involved, but like most of the people are just the little writers who are like doing one episode here, one episode there. You got like some smaller actors who haven't like quite struck it big. That makes up like the majority of these guilds, and those big actors are not necessarily, they are like the most prominent people, but they're not the majority of the people really affected by this. But
sure,
when it comes to conventions and stuff, it's definitely the big actors that we're concerned with for the most part, right? And conventions are going to be affected by the strike. So SAG has already put out some guidelines and some rules to follow for people who can attend conventions. Like when the writer strike first happened, I was concerned that SAG would join, and then that would kind of be an end to conventions as we knew them, because being at a convention, you're talking about movies, it could be considered promotion, that kind of thing. But they've made some like sensible guidelines there, so that the actors still can attend these conventions. So there's going to be plenty of celebrity guests at conventions. That's not a problem, as long as the convention itself is not like sponsored by the studio. So like I can't even really think of one in particular that would be there, but let's say there was like a Disney convention that was put on by Disney itself, that kind of thing would be a no-go. But like for the most part, these conventions are all like kind of independently run, so it's not really a concern for the most part. So celebrities can attend all these kind of conventions.
Maybe a Star Wars Celebration, but I mean, they're more in turn. But I don't know how the ownership of that goes with Disney and like that. I could be totally wrong.
Yeah, because I know like Reed Pop, I think, owns it, but like I'm sure they have like. I'm sure there's some kind of official relationship between them that might complicate stuff, but Star Wars Celebration, like isn't like it's like 2 years off still, right? So
Yeah. I was just trying to think of a convention.
yeah, exactly. But so like I can't really think of anything that would necessarily be prohibitive for a celebrity to attend there. But once they're at the convention, it's not business as usual. Unfortunately, there are definitely stipulations on what they can and can't do once they're there. So starting with the autographs, the table, usually when you go to an autograph table, you're going to have just rows of different 8x10 shots typically from their movies. Sometimes they're collages of like, especially for voice actors. Boy, those voice actors, they love the collages. I'll tell you what, like they'll have an 8x10 with like every single anime character voice that they've ever done, like jam-packed onto a single 8x10. They really love those. But you can imagine these photos. They got like, pictures from the most popular movies that they've done. And you're not going to see those anymore because basically they're prohibited from signing or at least providing their own photos of struck work. And according to the SAG guidelines, struck work basically refers to projects or productions that are affected by an ongoing strike. In the context of SAG-AFTRA and the Writers Guild strikes, struck work would include movies, TV shows, or other media productions that fall under the purview of the respective unions that are affected. So, I mean, basically right now, all the movie productions and TV productions are on hold and they're basically all affected. So unless it's like a really like independent tiny film or something like that, like you can basically just expect that it's going to be falling under this struck work provision. So we're just gonna stick to like one actor just to illustrate what's going on here. I'll give the example of Elizabeth Olsen. So if you were at a convention, you meet Elizabeth Olsen, she typically would have like pictures of Scarlet Witch and I don't know, maybe like a picture from her latest show, Love and Death, something like that, at her table, and you'd be able to choose one of those. But now it's just going to be like headshots, like something that she did for like a Vanity Fair, like that kind of like publicity type shoot, or like a red carpet shot, something like that, something that's not affiliated with a particular property. That's the only thing that they can provide the fans to get signed. So the table photos are going to look vastly different. However, if you have your own photo, like I bring my own poster of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I can bring that, and that is okay to get signed. So as long as the guest or like the attendee is bringing their own item that is involving a struck work, then it's okay. It's good to go still. However, typically when you do these signings at a convention, you can also request for things like quotes and character names, but under the SAG-AFTRA guidelines, like you can't do any of that stuff, at least as it pertains to a struck work. So if I had my Doctor Strange poster, for example, and I wanted to do a quote from the movie, she couldn't do that. Or if I wanted her to write Wanda Maximoff on there, she couldn't do that. But let's say if I had one of these headshots of her and I just wanted to like write a quote from Elizabeth Olsen, like, "Hey, I love the Olsen twins," something like that, like something that's maybe she said in an interview, or something, her own words that's not affiliated with the property, she could basically write that on there, but no character names or anything like that. And do you want to talk about the panels, how that's affected? I don't know if you saw the guidelines there, Brian.
I didn't really research too much on the panels about the autographs. Since we're we probably do talk about autographs. Take a quick pit stop on there. Probably let you keep on going over the panel talk and things like that. I think and this might go into your last part. I mean, I don't think this will go on forever. I think things will change. I think some of the biggest shows. I mean, we got San Diego Comic-Con there going on, I believe, right now, but I don't know any of the major stars that were even announced for that. I might be off and totally based on who's there, but I think some of the biggest regular cons you can go to, they've taken place. I think the Expo cons have already taken place, and we still got a lot of like cool major some cons coming up. Like you mentioned before, Fan X is still coming up. But I mean, I think eventually within a month or a couple of months, I would imagine this would probably be over.
Yeah. I think just the one bummer about it is like if you like I saw Elizabeth Olsen, for example, she's going to be in London for another convention.
Yes.
Let's just say like that convention, the strike is still going on when she appears there. Like if you had gotten her last month in the superhero car show in Comic-Con when she was appearing here in San Antonio, and you got, let's say, a quote and a character name, you would have ostensibly gotten a much higher value
For sure.
autograph at the end than if you see her now. You pay the same amount of money, but because she's limited on what she can do, it's
if you're already
devalued.
to that info, and of course she's not in the UK all the time, especially doing shows and stuff like that, then I mean you're already like you're gonna probably be still going ahead with the experience and everything like that, but it does suck for that autograph collector that would have maybe got those extra things or whatnot.
Yeah, and I think it's gonna suck for the people who aren't like well prepared for this, because savvy autograph collectors know to bring their own items and not get the photos off of the table. But a lot of guests, they just go planning on grabbing whatever photo they can, thinking that they're going to get a Wanda Maximoff photo, they're going to be sorely mistaken, and they're going to have to be okay with a headshot, or they're going to have to go to the convention floor and try and scrounge up something to get signed real quick. So that's a potential bummer for guests if they aren't tracking.
And that anxiety kills me. I know a lot of like people that are not like super hardcore autograph collectors do, like you said, just go through the line. But that gives me anxiety. You basically have 30 seconds to a minute to decide what photo you're going to get. You're spending multiple hundreds of dollars. To me, just like Tim said, if you're spending that type of money, plan ahead, find your image that you're really happy with, find out how you need to print it, how you need to buy it, whatever the item may be, and prepare and bring it in, because you're going to have a much better, experience, something that's worth more value, something that you're going to like more than just maybe the regular table photos they got out there. That just gives me anxiety to have to pick that fast.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you gone to a table and you've seen the photos and they're like all just grainy, super pixelated, like crappy quality? Like I would hate to have paid my $200 and then I just have the selection of grainy headshots to choose from. No, thank you. But yeah, so like similar to what we were talking about with, can't do the quotes and the inscriptions from the struck properties, kind of like the same principles kind of carry over to the panels and the Q&A sessions. So typically a lot of like the questions will be about, for example, like again, just using Elizabeth Olsen as example, like when she did her Q&A panel at the last convention, like it was all about like, the MCU and Scarlet Witch and, how do you like playing it? This kind of stuff. It wasn't really any kind of personal questions like, what inspired you to become an actress, or, what kinds of things you like, that kind of stuff. But so we're really going to see a change in the kind of questions that we're getting, because they can no longer talk about the struck properties anymore in these conventions. That's like totally off limits. So now they're going to be more like geared towards personal questions, stuff that we don't typically see at these Q&A panels, which, maybe we can get deeper into what it's like in the career that they're in, talking more about their aspirations and career goals, that kind of thing. So I think it ultimately, I kind of welcome it, because I think it's going to shift the Q&A paradigm a little bit and give us some kind of fresh talking points, because I don't know, I'm kind of like, I sense that a lot of these actors, like they just don't, they're not like necessarily fans like us. They don't really care about, what Thor is doing right now in the MCU, or like all these other stuff. They're not like following all this stuff as hardcore as we are. So it'd be more interesting to, kind of get more personal questions, something that they can personally relate to and appreciate. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the panels change myself.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, like if we get a little bit more meaningful or in-depth, commentary going on during the panels.
Yeah, agreed. As far as like the lasting effects of this, I think one, there's like a secondary ramification. Like I mentioned, all of the movie and TV productions have halted. So maybe you can speak to this, Brian, but like how important is it from like a street graphing perspective to have these ongoing productions? Like if productions are stopping, like what opportunities no longer exist for you to meet a celebrity on the street?
For my area, not so much. But for the major areas, you're talking, your Los Angeles, your New York. Maybe the Austin area will keep on boosting up like we've had. Elizabeth Olsen's new show that was filmed here that you got to be an extra in.
Love and Death, yeah.
Yeah, Love and Death, and maybe we'll start growing. But as far as me and going out and finding autographs out there, it's not too much at promotional events or premieres. Sometimes it is, but those are going to be far and few between. We have South by Southwest and different movie festivals or different maybe TV festivals that'll pop up, but we're not having a lot of premieres, a lot of things compared to like what probably Los Angeles and New York are used to compared to the person that's going out to those areas. So probably not where I'm going to find celebrities, it's usually not so much at those, like I said, far and few between for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I'm thinking like with no productions going on, that means one, the premieres, there's not going to be people getting autographs at the premieres, which like you said, happened mostly in California and New York, but we did have a lot at the South by Southwest Film Festival here back in March. So that's one opportunity off the table. But then there's like, aside from the premiere, which is like a one-day event, and there might be a couple in different countries, that kind of thing, but it's mostly like a one-off thing. There's a bunch of promotion that go into these movies. So these celebrities will go to talk shows, they'll make speaking appearances at different places, and that's all like a lot of traveling across the country and going out in public, and those are all kind of prime opportunities for street graphers to go and get their autograph. And of course the autograph market for a good part of it is supplied by these street graphers, the people who are on the street getting the autographs and kind of supplying the market there. Like if you're going to go out and purchase an autographed photo from a movie that just came out, it's basically 100% guaranteed that you got that from a street grapher, somebody who was at the premiere or waiting in front of the late night show or whatever, getting that photo signed right there in the moment. So we're going to see a lot less of that as there's no more promotion and no more movie premieres, or at least a slowing down, because of course there's already been movies in the pipe for like premieres and stuff, but right now they're not allowed to promote them. So we're going to definitely see an immediate pause to that kind of thing. So there's going to be a shift in the autograph market, at least as far as the supply chain goes. So there's that. And then I don't know, do you think I was wondering if you think there's any kind of risk of a continuing trend if celebrities are forced to a while to say, no, I'm not going to sign any quotes or character names. Do you think there's any possibility that might continue after the strike is over?
I think it's just going to be those one-off situations, or not one-offs, because it's starting to happen more and more prevalent. It seems like throughout the convention world, we're seeing a lot more of the nickel and diming, to add character name, charge an extra 20 or extra 50 or whoever it depends to be, or, I'll give you a quote for 5 words. It's going to be an extra 150. I hope that they don't get to that, because I think that's really starting to outprice some of those people that are wanting to go to the Comic-Cons. They might go, but they might be spending less on some of these other people they might be able to see, or what they could do throughout the weekend, because maybe they spent $500 with Hayden Christensen getting his name, his May the Force Be With You character on there, and now you're into it deep if you've already bought a helmet or whatever item you're getting signed that day, because you already spent so much money. So it does start to add up. I hate that they're adding this for send-in companies and send-in people are doing signings. I understand it, because there's a more attention to detail that you're asking that person that's doing the send-in and the signing to make sure that your quote gets on there, the dedication gets there to Bryan, May the Force Be With You, or whatever it might be. And you're paying for that extra, making sure that extra attention to details getting done on there for you on your send in. But really at conventions, I really would like to see that market not done that way. Or if it's on a Star Wars or if it's on a certain type of item, I'm going to upcharge you for that type of stuff. I don't like that nickel and diming. Make it a price in the middle that you're happy with, and just go from there.
Yeah, I think it's definitely part of a continuing trend, and I could see that the fact that it's being enforced that you can't do these things, maybe potentially being a nail in a coffin that just makes everybody more willing to kind of nickel and dime people. But I hope that's not the case, but we'll see. So that's kind of like the overall main effects of what it's going to be like at a convention. You're going to see different table photos there. You're not going to be able to get character names and quotes. The Q&A panels are going to be a lot different subject matter there. And I mean, it's not only the panels, but there is an aspect of interaction at the photo ops and at the autograph table. So I mean, a lot of people will talk to the celebrity about this work or whatever resonated with me. Blah blah blah. There's you get maybe a minute if you're lucky with a celebrity, sometimes more depending on who the celebrity is and what the line is looking like, how popular they are. It kind of depends, but these conversations that you have, however brief they are, will often kind of touch on these struck works. So I mean, a guest won't be prohibited from mentioning it, but the celebrity won't really be able to engage very much because they can't talk about these works that they've already had. So I think that's just one part of the convention experience that's going to be changed and different. It's going to take a little bit of getting used to. Hopefully this, the last strike, like I said, lasted 3 months, 3 days. So it's it's a potential that your next con might be more than that amount of time out. And if this strike is anywhere near that kind of same time frame, maybe you're not even going to be affected. But if it goes on for a long time, potentially this is something that you could see at your local con.
Well, one thing one more quick point, and we'll move on to the next subject that we have on board here. But the quick subject I wanted to bring up is I didn't even think about photo ops, and I haven't really about anybody thinking about them, because usually they're pretty, you just go in and maybe get a hug or arm around or next to that person. But sometimes you like to you can sometimes request something from their movie, and they may have to tell you they won't be able to maybe strike the pose of the bow and the arrow with Haley Steinfeld, because she knows that's from Hawkeye, and she's kind of acting in that picture. That could be an issue. I know I've done different things with Jeffrey Dean Morgan before, with him holding the Walking Dead bat, different things like that, that could be affected. I have no idea.
Yeah, so I haven't seen particular guidance on that, but I mean, judging from the rest of these guidelines, I would imagine that, yeah, you're right. They probably won't be able to do that. Like Elizabeth Olsen, she'll do the, the Scarlet Witch hands, doing some magic power type thing. And I imagine that would be off limits too. So
yeah.
I'm sure we're going to see additional kind of clarification as these questions come up. And maybe I'll even email SAG and see what they have, because they got an email address about this strike. So maybe I'll reach out and see if I can get some clarification on some of these kind of fringe things that could be affected by the strike. Moving on to some convention news. Can you see my screen, Brian? I think you can. It's about to pop up here.
Yeah.
All right, so we got FanX going to be in Salt Lake City, September 21st through 23rd. And I was just looking through their guest list, and it's a pretty deep guest list. It's like a convention that I won't be traveling out there or anything, but if I wanted to go to a convention, this would definitely be a pretty fun one to go to. They don't have a huge headliner of anyone that you rarely see at cons. Right at the top of the page, you got Michael J. Fox. He's definitely, don't get me wrong, he's a beloved star, but he does make the convention circuit fairly regularly. So if you got any kind of a decent sized convention near you, odds are you can probably just wait for him to come around your neighborhood. You don't have to travel out to these things. But I think while they don't have any one big headliner, they have a really nice deep guest list that is comprised of like pretty decent guests. So I think in a sum total, you're looking at a pretty attractive guest list for me. So
Yeah,
I think
I was gonna say it's not like a great list, but it's a really good list. You know what I mean? Like you said, that was the first thing when I'm looking at this list of people. There's not that one big megastar. Usually, you sometimes have that one megastar, or with Superhero Comic Con, we have like 3 or 4 megastars.
yeah, and they have like some nice kind of like groups of people here. So like if you are a Scream fan, they've got like a nice selection of stars from the Scream franchise. They've got like groups of people from Smallville. So like it makes it like really easy for you to bring in a photo or a poster from one of these franchises and then get like a whole bunch of people on it and kind of knock that poster out at one time, which is really nice and very convenient. Like they've got
Fox, like you said, and Christopher Lloyd. Keep in mind for all you autograph people, because you're usually tuning in for us for autograph talk. Michael J. Fox's signature nowadays is going to be a lot shakier than it was a couple of years ago. But this is you are rounding down into his final years or final times of being able to do conventions. I mean, only that man knows his health, how he's feeling, but I'm sure it puts a lot of toll of going there and sitting there for a day or 2 days or 3 days or how many ever days he does now and signing and meeting and greeting as many people as he does. I mean, it's your time now to do it, but it is shakier than, previous signings, previous autographs that you do see out there because of his Parkinson's out there. But it is a great, opportunity. Anytime Michael J. Fox or Christopher Lloyd. I mean, I would have loved for them to be in a Texas con this year, and we have a lot of cons, but we don't have either of those guys at any of our cons this year.
Yeah, and kind of speaking of Michael J. Fox and the Parkinson's, and I guess kind of signers in general. Like I don't know exactly how this convention is doing it, but if they're using any kind of group system, I mean, I kind of like to prefer to get the earlier group of the day, like the first one if possible, because eventually these signers do get fatigued, and especially somebody like Michael J. Fox, where he's got a health condition and is not in the best of health, he's going to get fatigued a lot faster. So I can only imagine that an autograph first thing in the morning when he's at his peak energy is going to be the most cleanest, nicest looking autograph, as opposed to one where he's been signing and taking photos all day and kind of running around. Because I know like celebrities in the past, like Joseph Quinn, who was in the Stranger Things, he played Eddie. Like he did a convention, did his first convention, and he was like, that was like the peak of Stranger Things fandom right there for the last season. And he was very in demand. He had a huge line. And at the beginning of the convention, he was like signing full signatures, like doing like quotes and inscriptions and stuff. And he was just kind of getting berated by the convention organizers. And by the end of it, he was doing basically like initials, right? Because he had to shorten down that autograph to get people through the line faster and basically get through everybody. So I think as a general rule of thumb, when those autograph tickets go on sale, be there as soon as they go on sale so you can get into the earlier group in the day. I think you're going to have a nicer, cleaner looking signature than if you went towards the end of the day. You think I'm on base with that theory, Brian? Have you?
Probably so. And like I said, but just overall, I think it's gonna be more shaky than usual. I mean, than in past, but definitely. Definitely, I would think for him for sure. And there happens to probably a lot of them. I'm trying to look on the website right now, and it says like buy photographs, buy autographs. I click it. I don't see a spot where you're actually being able to like pre-purchase. It might be like a free for all thing when you show up, but I don't know how crazy that would be for Michael J. Fox unless they just haven't. Let me see here. Autograph prices are posted for each guest at the table. Please visit the guest table for more. Some celebrities post their autograph selfie prices. I'm not seeing anything that you can pre-purchase. That's pretty crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely like how it used to be. Like you would just go to the table and pay for your autograph and you're good to go.
That's the old one.
The trend for conventions has been to get more organized at these things. So I don't know. They're just kind of doing a free for all over there, it seems like. So
I may be missing something.
Line up early, I guess.
Yeah.
I think I didn't see her listed on here, but I did see Allison Duty is going to be at this convention. She was in Indiana Jones. She played Elsa Schneider in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And to this point, she's only done private signings. And she's going to do her first in-person appearance and signing. I know Alexandra Daddario. She's a pretty, decently known celebrity, but she's never done a convention as far as I know. So I think this is her first appearance as well.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's some pretty good first-time appearances, and those always bring in more of a crowd whenever you've had somebody who there's never been a chance to get an autograph from them at a convention. That helps to draw the crowd for sure. So, all right. So that was basically the main convention I wanted to talk about on this episode. I did want to also mention a couple cool little autographs that came up for sale / went on sale, namely one by Keanu Reeves. He has a band called Dogstar, and they're offering signed copies of their upcoming album, so it's up for pre-order. They have two different variants. They've got a pink vinyl and then a black vinyl. Both of those come in signed variants. They're $35 each for a Keanu Reeves autograph. And Bryan, you just met him a couple months back. How much typically does a Keanu Reeves autograph go for?
Well, just like everything, it all depends on what you're getting signed, but his price does vary, and his price also depends on what property are you getting signed. I see some things as low as a few $100s all the way up to $1,300. So a few $100s might be maybe something from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, maybe on an 8x10 photo. And I may be a little bit off on price there, but I recently, back in March, I sold a signed John Wick 4 movie poster that had just came out. It was actually before it had came out. The premiere was happening, and I sold that for $1,300. So depending on the property, depending on the, I usually tend to see John Wick stuff move for higher, anywhere from around the $500 to $1,000 range, depending on the bigger the size, the cooler the shot, the cleaner the autograph. All that stuff plays a factor into the pricing, but there is a lot of good value, and he will be on tour. But it looks like he's doing a lot of California dates because of course he lives out there. I see some. He goes to Japan for a while on this tour. I also see that he's going in the winter. I have no idea why he's making this part of the leg of the tour on this one. He's doing Chicago. He's doing Michigan. He's doing Toronto. He's doing Brooklyn, all in the middle of December and early December. It'll be super cold up there. I don't think he has any south dates, anything that's too far south from I saw on the tour. Maybe they'll add more tour dates, or maybe this may be it. But because they start touring already here in the next 3 weeks, I think. And
That's pretty cool.
They go all of, I think, half of almost all of August, September, October, November. I think they tour for almost 4 months.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know if he probably didn't play the game Cyberpunk 2077, but he did motion capture and voice acting for that game, and he played this character Johnny Silverhand, who was also a rock star. So I saw him on the game playing a lot of playing in concerts and stuff, and so it'd be cool to see him in real life, just as Keanu Reeves rocking out at a concert. I think that'd be pretty fun to see. Aside from him, I did want to mention that Premier Collectibles, they're a signed bookseller. They do have a copy of, or several copies of, Elizabeth Olsen's children's book Hattie Harmony, and they're all signed. Typically they used to be $25, which was already a steal, and now they're only $20. So that's about less than a tenth of what her autograph would cost you at a convention. It was a really super good deal. I'll leave a link to the Keanu Reeves record and Elizabeth Olsen in the show notes, so you can just click on those easily. And final mention is that I am doing a 10,000 subscriber giveaway. So just a couple weeks ago, I hit the 10,000 subscriber mark on TikTok, and in celebration of that, I'm giving away 10 free autographs, mostly just officially licensed sports trading cards. So these are going to be cards from Topps and stuff like that with the actual autograph either on card or the sticker kind. I have a big box of cards. I'm just going to kind of randomly pick them out But all you have to do is go to talesfromthecollection.com/giveaway, and then you just follow me on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, and put in those usernames. I'll check them out. And at the end of August, or at the beginning of August, August 1st, I'm going to close the giveaway and do a drawing. And I'm going to pay for the shipping myself, just ship out the cards to some of my followers there. So if you guys want to get in on that, it's totally free to enter, no purchase necessary. Just stick your info in there, give me a follow, and you're good to go.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And congrats on the 10,000 too.
Yeah. Like it took me really, like I was stuck at like 9 point something forever. And then just at the convention we were at, the Superhero Car Show and Comic-Con, I was doing some lives on the floor, and that really helped me to push me over the 10,000 mark. And then now somehow I'm almost at 11. So
oh, nice.
It picked up quickly. So that's really
nice.
Whenever
you can go live at like events like that, that definitely help out too.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if I was going to go to the Austin Galaxy Con, but I was like, even though I don't really need a whole lot of the guests there, like there's a couple of good ones, but it's mostly voice actors for the most part. So I was like, I'm just going to go and just walk around the floor, make some content, talk to people, talk to some of the vendors, see if I can get some interaction with some of the celebrity guests there, and see how I do. So I'm just going to go there just to shoot some content, have a good time. Should be pretty good. That's coming up in September.
Well, do you have any other, before we close out, do you have any new autographs you've gotten in you're wanting to show off or anything like that? Any show and tell? And if you do, pull down the Fan X website, so it probably shows it in a bigger screen.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I know I do. I know I got something like
stuff off I got over here while you pull out something.
Yeah, you pull something out.
So first off, I want to promote Autograph Alliance. So right now I do have a mystery spot sale that's going to be going on Friday at noon Central tomorrow. And those are only $65 a spot. And there's only 25 spots for them. And some of the big winner can actually choose between one of three items. And one of those three items that they can choose, and I have all three of those items right here, is this big 27 by 40 Christmas vacation poster signed by Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, and Randy Quaid. So the big winner could choose that. Let me put this poster up very carefully. Or the big winner could choose a Righteous Gemstones 16 by 20. And that's signed by, let's see, I believe 4 of the cast members on there, including Danny McBride. And the third choice is that somebody could actually choose this 12 by 18, signed by 5 of the cast members, including the creators of Cheers. So, and on the new mystery spots that I got going, it's called Pick-a-Graph. And then that person's able, I mix up the names, and then that person, I'll have the table all full of all the autographs. I'll have 35 autographs and only 25 spots. So basically there's more choices than what there is spots, which provides more variety for that person to pick. And they can pick they basically able to pick what autograph they want and the order that their name gets drawn at. So that's also a new thing I got going on. Went real successful 2 weeks ago. So we're running that again out there. So I just wanted to show off some of that. I do have some other items to show off for a different thing, but what did you end up finding, Tim?
Yeah, so I recently got some new through the mail. I did get one. Most recent one was from Mark Summers, the host of Double Dare, the classic Nickelodeon 90s TV show. I already put that away though, but I do have. Just want to show you like an example of what I am giving away for the giveaway. So these would be like trading cards. Like even got like some relics here. These are like all officially licensed, autograph trading cards. So any one of those random cards, I got a whole bunch of them, absolutely free to you guys if you just fill out the form. talesfromthecollection.com/giveaway.
Awesome. So last few items, and people could check these autographs out also. I have these autographs on sale on my website, autographalliances.com. So just a few items, and one of these is a recent got from Haley Steinfeld Funko Pop right there. That's on sale on autographalliances.com. I have this Charlie Cox sign pop that's on sale on the website. I have this James Hong Funko Pop that's on for sale, glow in the dark. A couple of vinyl albums, just check out real quick. I got this Chili Peppers signed a vinyl album from John Frusciante and Chad Smith that's on for sale out there. A couple more albums that are pretty cool autographs to check out. Noel Gallagher from Oasis signed album. And one last one to show off out there is going to be Robert Smith from The Cure signed out, the singer from The Cure, also out there. So some great autographs just to take a look at, and they're also on for sale out there. I wanted to at least show some autographs off on this show before we ended it out.
All right, cool, man. Love it. Yeah, so I think we got a lot to look forward to as far as conventions go. I'm really interested to see exactly how all this plays out, like if people's experiences are affected. Hopefully the strike ends soon and they get the concessions that they're looking for, and then we don't even have to worry about any of this stuff. But yeah, I guess we'll see. So anyway, thanks, Bryan. Really appreciate you being here, and we'll see everybody for the next episode when we have some new news in the world of autographs. Cool. Thanks, dude. So let me stop the recording here.